a message from God, finding strength, hope, and eternal love in life's journey. In a world often overshadowed by despair, uncertainty, and the relentless challenges of daily life, a message from God emerges as a beacon of light and hope. This message transcends time, reminding us of an eternal truth. We are never alone, even in our darkest moments. At the heart of this story lies the universal human struggle, our longing for peace amidst chaos, healing for wounded hearts, and reassurance in the face of fear. Through the tender voice of divine love, this message calls out to every soul burdened by sorrow or searching for meaning. It offers not just comfort but a promise of transformation, a renewal of strength, joy, and purpose. From the humble beginnings of a manger to the grandeur of unshakable faith, this narrative unfolds a profound journey of love, forgiveness, and redemption. Why should you listen? Because this story isn't just about a distant divine being. It's about you. It's about discovering the courage to rise, the grace to heal, and the power to believe in something greater. Stay with us, and let this timeless message guide you to the peace and purpose you've been seeking. Have you ever paused amidst life's storms and wondered, is anyone listening? In the depths of sorrow, the weight of fear, or the aching void of uncertainty, a message from God often comes as a whisper, a still, small voice calling us to hope. It doesn't come with thunder or fire, but in the gentle assurance that says, I love you. What does this whisper mean to you? Could it be the key to unlocking peace and purpose in your life? Let us step back and imagine the night Joseph, son of Jacob, wrestled with betrayal and despair, sold into slavery by his own brothers, left to rot in a foreign prison. Joseph's cries to heaven seemed to echo unanswered. Yet even in his darkest hour, the divine whisper was there, weaving a tapestry of redemption. Do not fear, Joseph. The voice seemed to say, trust me. And through this faith, he rose from captivity to save a nation. This story of Joseph is not just an ancient tale. It is a mirror reflecting our own struggles. How often do we feel abandoned, cast aside, or powerless against life's injustices? And yet, even then, the message from God reaches out, saying, I have a plan for you. Fear is a shadow that looms over us all, but shadows cannot exist without light. God's message, don't be afraid, is the beacon that dispels this darkness. Like a sunrise breaking through the cold fog of night, His love warms the soul, reminding us that we are never alone. When you feel the weight of the world pressing down, imagine a shepherd carrying a wounded lamb upon his shoulders. This is how God sees you, not as a burden, but as His beloved, worth every effort to rescue and restore. And what of the child born in a humble manger, surrounded not by royal splendor but by the simplicity of hay and stable animals? Jesus, the embodiment of God's message, came to us in the most vulnerable form, a baby needing care, yet carrying the power to transform the world. If God's love could shine so brightly from such a humble beginning, what does that say about your own potential? If His presence turned a manger into a throne of hope, can He not turn your brokenness into beauty? Ask yourself, what is holding me back? Is it doubt, fear, or a sense of unworthiness? The divine answer is always the same. Trust me. I have chosen you, I love you, and I will never abandon you. This is not just a promise but a revelation. A sumac kai thieng liang that you are worthy of love and capable of greatness. Just as Joseph's dungeon became a stepping stone to a palace, your trials can lead to triumph if you embrace this truth. Imagine your life as a canvas, each stroke a moment shaped by joy, sorrow, or fear. The message from God is the artist's hand, guiding you to see that even the darkest hues have their place in creating a masterpiece. How would it feel to step back and see the beauty in your struggles, to realize that every tear you've cried has watered the seeds of hope? As you ponder this, consider the questions that resonate within your heart. Do you trust the artist? Can you let go of the brush and allow his hand to guide your story? The answer lies in surrendering your fears and opening your heart to faith. Like Joseph, who trusted despite the silence, and like Jesus, who embraced the cross for the joy set before him, you too can find strength in trusting the voice that says, I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me. This is just the beginning of the journey. As we move forward, we will explore the transformative power of God's love, the strength it provides in our weakest moments, and the promises that anchor our souls in unshakable hope. Will you take this step of faith with me? Will you allow the message from God to turn your darkness into light, your fears into courage, and your pain into purpose? Let's walk this path together, for it is a journey that leads to healing, joy, and an abundant life. Stay with me, for the story is far from over. The next chapter awaits, and it holds the answers your heart has been longing for. What if I told you that your life could change? Not gradually, but profoundly, like night turning into day. The message from God doesn't just comfort, it transforms. It is a catalyst for renewal, a flame that burns away doubt, fear, and sorrow, leaving only the light of faith. Have you ever stood at the edge of a seemingly impossible situation and wondered, is there hope for me? The answer, resounding through the ages, is trust me. Don't be afraid. Let us revisit the quiet town of Bethlehem, where the greatest story of transformation began. A baby, born in the humblest of settings, carried the weight of the world's salvation. Jesus, the Son of God, came not with armies or wealth, but with a love so pure that it redefined power itself. The manger is more than a cradle. It is a symbol of how God turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. If he could use a stable to change the course of history, can he not use your life, no matter how humble or broken, to create something magnificent? Imagine your heart as a garden choked by weeds, fear, anger, pain. The message from God is the gardener's hand, gently pulling away the weeds, nurturing the soil, and planting seeds of hope. Over time, with his care, the barren ground blossoms into a sanctuary of beauty. But this transformation requires trust. Can you trust the gardener to tend to your wounds, even when the process is painful? Can you believe that the fruit of his labor will be worth the wait? Consider the story of Jesus calming the storm on the Sea of Galilee. The disciples, terrified by the raging winds and waves, cried out for help. Jesus rose, stretched out his hand, and said, "Peace, be still." Instantly, the storm obeyed. This is the power of God's presence. A presence that doesn't just observe your struggles, but intervenes with authority. Are you facing storms in your life? Hear his voice whispering to your heart, "Trust me, don't be afraid. I am with you." Transformation is not without challenges. It often feels like walking through fire, but this fire refines rather than destroys. Think of gold, which only reveals its true brilliance after enduring intense heat. In the same way, your trials are not meant to break you, but to reveal the strength and beauty that God has placed within you. "I love you," he assures you. "Even in the fire, I am there." But how do we access this power of transformation? Through faith, a simple, unshakable belief that God's promises are true. The Apostle Paul wrote, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." These words remind us that it is not our strength, but his that carries us through. When we surrender our fears and open ourselves to his guidance, we allow his power to work in us and through us. Picture a caterpillar, crawling slowly, bound to the earth. It may seem insignificant, even hopeless, but within it lies the potential for wings. Through the process of transformation, it emerges as a butterfly free to soar. This is what the message from God does for us. It awakens the potential within, lifting us from despair to hope, from weakness to strength, from sorrow to joy. Let me ask you, what holds you back from transformation? Is it fear of the unknown, a reluctance to let go of past pain, or a belief that you are unworthy? The message from God is clear. You are loved. You are chosen. You are capable of more than you can imagine. Like a lighthouse guiding a ship through treacherous waters, his words illuminate the path to safety and purpose. As we reflect on this, let us remember that transformation is not a solitary journey. God walks with us every step of the way. His presence is the anchor that steadies us in the storm, the hand that lifts us when we fall, and the light that leads us when the road is dark. Don't be afraid, he says. I am here, and I will never leave you. So what will you do with this message? Will you let it inspire you to take the first step toward change? Will you trust the one who sees your potential, even when you cannot? The power to transform your life is not distant or unattainable. It is here, now, waiting for you to embrace it. As we move to the next part of this journey, we will explore how God's love sustains us through life's greatest challenges, providing the strength we need to rise above them. Stay with me, for the promise of transformation is only the beginning. Together, let us uncover the depth of His love and the heights of hope that await us. The best is yet to come. Have you ever felt utterly alone, crushed beneath the weight of life's hardships, and wondered, can anyone truly love me through this? In those moments, a message from God cuts through the silence, saying, I love you, don't be afraid, trust me. This is no fleeting emotion or conditional affection. It is a love that endures beyond all understanding, a love that transforms weakness into strength and despair into triumph. Picture this, a potter shaping clay on a wheel. The clay may resist, crack, or collapse, but the potter never gives up. He molds it with patience, adding water when it dries, applying pressure to refine its shape. This is how God works in our lives. His love is the gentle yet firm hand that never stops shaping us, even when we feel like falling apart. Do you feel broken today? Can you trust the hands of the master potter to create something beautiful from your pain? Take the story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Faced with unimaginable anguish, knowing the suffering that lay ahead, he prayed, Father, if it is possible, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. In his moment of weakness, divine strength prevailed. This is the paradox of God's love. It doesn't remove the storm, but carries us through it. His strength is made perfect in our weakness, a power that transforms surrender into victory. I love you. Let this truth sink in. It's not a vague promise. It's a declaration as steady as the rising sun. Imagine a tree planted by the riverside. Its roots sink deep, drawing nourishment even in times of drought. This is the strength God offers, a resilience that doesn't depend on circumstances but flows from His unending love. Are you willing to let your roots grow deep into this love, to find strength even in life's deserts? But what happens when the trials feel overwhelming? When we feel abandoned, like the psalmist crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Even in this cry, there is hope, for God's love never wavers. Like a parent who allows their child to stumble so they can learn to walk, God permits trials not to punish but to strengthen us. Each hardship is a step toward becoming who He created us to be. Can you see the hand of a loving Father guiding you, even in the shadows? Think of a diamond, formed under immense pressure. Without this pressure, it would remain a mere lump of carbon, unnoticed and unremarkable. Similarly, God's love allows us to endure pressure not to crush us but to refine us, to reveal the brilliance within. When you face life's trials, remember, I love you. His love is the furnace that purifies, not the hammer that destroys. Let me ask you, what is your greatest fear? Is it failure? Loss? The unknown? God's answer is constant. Don't be afraid. Like a shepherd who searches for one lost sheep, leaving the 99, His love is relentless. He doesn't wait for you to be perfect or strong. He meets you in your weakness and carries you home. Can you hear His voice calling you, saying, you are mine, and I will never let you go? This love isn't just about endurance. It's about renewal. The Apostle Paul wrote, though outwardly we are wasting away, inwardly we are being renewed day by day. God's love is the wellspring that restores our soul, the living water that quenches our deepest thirst. Like rain falling on parched land, His presence revives even the driest heart. Can you feel the gentle rain of His love washing over you now, bringing new life where there was once barrenness? Imagine your life as a tapestry. From the underside, it may look tangled, chaotic, and without meaning. But from above, the master weaver sees the full picture, a masterpiece of redemption and beauty. Each thread, even the dark ones, has a purpose, God's love weaves our failures, pain, and triumphs into something far greater than we can imagine. Will you trust Him to complete the work He has begun in you? As we journey further, let us remember this truth. God's love is not just a concept. It is a force that moves mountains, calms storms, and raises the dead. It is a love that will never leave you, even when you feel unworthy. Trust me, He says, my love is sufficient, and my strength will carry you. In the next part of this journey, we will explore how this unshakable love builds a foundation of faith, a fortress of hope, and a path to ultimate victory. Together, let us continue to walk in the light of His love, trusting that no trial is too great and no heart is too broken for His healing touch. The best is yet to come. What does it mean to stand firm when the winds howl and the earth beneath your feet trembles? In the midst of chaos, a message from God offers an anchor. Don't be afraid. Trust me. Faith is not just a fragile hope. It is the foundation upon which we build our lives, a fortress that protects us from despair and doubt. It is the bridge between the trials of today and the triumphs of tomorrow. Imagine a mighty oak tree weathering a storm. Its branches sway, its leaves scatter, but its roots hold firm, deep in the nourishing soil. This is the essence of faith, a strength that remains unshaken, even when life's tempests rage. Have you ever felt like that tree, battered by the storm? God's promise is that, with roots planted in His love, you will not fall. I love you, He says, and I will sustain you. Let us revisit the story of David and Goliath. Before the towering giant, armed with weapons and pride, stood a boy with nothing but a slingshot and unyielding faith. David's strength was not in his weapon, but in his trust in God's power. The battle belongs to the Lord, he declared, and with one stone, guided by faith, the giant fell. What giants are you facing today? Fear? Doubt? Insecurity? God's message reminds you that no giant is too great when you stand on the foundation of faith. Faith is not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward despite it. Consider Peter stepping out of the boat to walk on water. As long as his eyes were fixed on Jesus, he defied the laws of nature. But the moment he let fear take hold, he began to sink. How often do we take those first steps of faith, only to falter when the waves rise? God's hand reaches out to us, just as it did to Peter, saying, "Don't be afraid, trust me." Will you take His hand and rise above the waves? The Apostle Paul described faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is both a shield and a compass, protecting us from the arrows of doubt and guiding us toward the promises of God. Faith doesn't eliminate challenges, but it equips us to face them with confidence, knowing that victory is already assured. Do you believe that the battles you are fighting now have already been won by His grace? Imagine your life as a journey through a dense forest. Faith is the light that illuminates the path, revealing each step even when the destination is obscured. Without this light, the forest seems endless, filled with shadows and uncertainty. But with faith, every step is purposeful, and every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. Are you willing to trust the light, even when the way forward is unclear? God's promises are the foundation of our faith. He doesn't simply call us to believe in Him. He assures us of His presence, protection, and provision. "I will never leave you nor forsake you," He declares. These words are not just comforting, they are transformative. Like a castle built on solid rock, faith shields us from the shifting sands of fear and doubt. Have you built your life on this rock? Or are you still searching for stability in the storm? Faith also gives us the courage to dream again. When Jesus spoke to the crippled man, He said, "Rise, take up your mat, and walk." This was not just a command. It was an invitation to reclaim hope. What dreams have you abandoned, convinced they were beyond reach? God's message is clear. Trust me. With me, all things are possible. Will you rise, take up your mat, and walk toward the life He has prepared for you? Let us not forget the ultimate promise of faith: victory. In the book of Revelation, we see the triumphant image of Christ, the Lamb who overcame the world. This victory is not just His, it is ours. Through faith, we are more than conquerors, not because of our strength, but because of His. When the trials of life seem insurmountable, remember, the battle is not yours, but God's. Can you surrender your battles to Him, trusting that the outcome is already secured? Faith also unites us with others, creating a community of hope and encouragement. Like stones in a cathedral, each one unique yet essential, our faith builds a structure that reflects God's glory. Together, we are stronger, our combined faith a beacon that draws others toward the light. Have you found your place in this community of believers? If not, will you allow God to guide you to those who will walk this journey with you? As we prepare to conclude this journey, let us hold on to the truth that faith is not just a belief but a way of life. It is the foundation that sustains us, the light that guides us, and the promise that assures us of victory. Trust me, God says, I will be with you always. In the final part of this journey, we will explore how faith blossoms into courage and how God's promises lead us to a life of eternal blessing. Together, let us take the next step, confident in the knowledge that the best is yet to come. As the journey unfolds, we are faced with a question. What does it mean to walk in faith? A message from God gently guides us, whispering, "Trust me, don't be afraid. I love you." These words are not mere reassurances. They are a call to live courageously, to trust in His promises, and to step boldly into the future He has prepared for us. Faith is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of an extraordinary life filled with hope, purpose, and eternal blessing. Imagine your life as a vast ocean. At times, the waters are calm, reflecting the beauty of the sky. At other times, waves crash, storms rage, and the horizon seems distant. God's presence is the anchor that keeps you steady and the compass that points you toward the shore. I am with you, He says, through calm and storm alike. Can you feel the assurance of His guiding hand, even when the waves threaten to overwhelm you? Let us turn to the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. For 40 years, they wandered, often doubting, sometimes rebelling, yet always guided by the divine pillar of cloud and fire. Each step, though fraught with uncertainty, was leading them toward the promised land. Like the Israelites, our journey may feel endless, our destination unseen, but God's promise remains steadfast. I will lead you, I will sustain you, I will bless you. Do you trust Him to bring you to your own promised land, even if the path seems unclear? The journey of faith is not without struggle. It requires us to let go of the familiar and step into the unknown. This can feel like walking into a vast desert, where the road is hard and the destination is hidden. Yet, even in the desert, God provides manna to sustain us and water from the rock to quench our thirst. Are you willing to trust Him to provide for your needs, even when the resources seem scarce? Trust me, He calls. This is more than an invitation. It is a command to rise above fear and doubt. Like Abraham, who left everything familiar to follow God's promise, we are called to leave behind the baggage of the past, our fears, regrets, and insecurities, and step into the life He has prepared for us. What is holding you back? Are you ready to take that leap of faith, knowing that His promises are sure? Faith also brings courage. Picture a soaring eagle, gliding effortlessly on unseen currents. This is the life God promises, a life lifted by His strength, not burdened by our limitations. The prophet Isaiah reminds us, "Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Can you see yourself rising, freed from the chains of doubt and fear, to embrace the limitless possibilities He offers? As we walk this path of faith, we discover that God's blessings are not just for this life but for eternity. His sumac kai thiang liang assures us that the struggles we face now are momentary compared to the glory that awaits. In the book of Revelation, we see a vision of a new heaven and a new earth, where every tear is wiped away and every sorrow is turned to joy. This is the ultimate promise of faith, eternal life in His presence, where love and peace reign forever. Do you long for this eternal blessing, this home where your soul will find its rest? God's invitation is clear: walk with me, trust in my promises. live with the hope of eternity. He doesn't promise a life free of hardship, but he promises a life rich with meaning, purpose, and his unwavering presence. Like a father teaching his child to walk, he is there with every step, encouraging, lifting, and guiding. Are you ready to take his hand and walk into the life he has prepared for you? The journey of faith is not one we take alone. We are part of a greater story, a community of believers united by a shared hope and purpose. Like stones in a grand cathedral, each of us plays a vital role in reflecting God's glory. Together, we are stronger, our faith a light that draws others toward his love. Have you found your place in this great story? Are you ready to be a beacon of hope for others as they embark on their own journey of faith? As this journey concludes, let us hold on to the truth that God's promises are unshakable. Trust me, he says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. His love is the foundation of our faith, the source of our courage, and the guarantee of our eternal blessing. Now, as you reflect on this message from God, ask yourself, what will I do with this truth? Will I let it transform my heart, renew my mind, and guide my steps? The choice is yours, but the invitation stands. Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. Let us walk forward together, trusting in his promises, anchored in his love, and confident in the eternal blessing that awaits. The journey of faith is not the end. It is the beginning of a life filled with joy, purpose, and the unshakable hope of God's everlasting presence. The best is not just yet to come. It is here, now, waiting for you to embrace it. As we come to the end of this story, we find ourselves standing at a crossroads. The journey of faith we have explored is more than just words. It is a living testament to the transformative power of a message from God. Through the struggles of life, his whisper remains constant. I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me. This message is an invitation to hope, a call to courage, and a promise of eternal blessing. The story of Joseph, the birth of Jesus, and the countless moments of faith throughout Scripture remind us of a profound truth. No matter where we are or what we face, God is with us. His love is the light that guides our steps, the strength that lifts us in weakness, and the foundation that holds us steady in the storm. Do you feel the weight of his presence in your life? Have you heard his voice calling you to a deeper faith and a greater purpose? Faith is not the absence of challenges, but the assurance that we are never alone. God's promises are the rock upon which we stand, his love the river that nourishes our souls. Trust me, he says, and with that trust, we can rise above every fear, every doubt, and every obstacle. Now, let us reflect together. What part of this story speaks to your heart? Is it the courage of Joseph, the humble beginnings of Jesus, or the reminder that God's love never fails? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear how God's message is touching your life. If this journey has inspired you, we invite you to subscribe to our channel, God's Chosen Path, where we continue to explore stories of faith, hope, and divine love. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos that delve deeper into the mysteries of God's promises and the beauty of walking in faith. Before you go, let me ask you, what is the next step on your journey of faith? Is it trusting God more fully, sharing his love with someone in need, or simply embracing the peace he offers? Whatever it may be, know this: God is with you. His message from God is not just for a moment. It is for eternity. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Together, let us walk boldly on God's chosen path, inspired by his promises, strengthened by his love, and guided by his light. Until next time, may you find peace, courage, and hope in the unchanging truth of his word. We'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed and stay inspired.